I remember the exact moment my world shifted, when fear became something darker than anything I had ever known. It was a blazing summer day in Mississippi, 1851, and I was bent over the endless cotton fields, my hands raw and blistered, sweat burning my eyes, every muscle screaming, when I saw him for the first time. He wasn't like the other slaves or the overseers or anyone I'd ever seen in this world. He was albino, skin as pale as fresh-fallen cotton, hair white like threads of sunlight, eyes glowing red like embers, and yet he moved with a stillness that made the air itself feel wrong, like the world had shifted and I had stepped into a place where reality was fragile. Tipuluf. The stories whispered at the edge of the fields didn't come close to what I saw that day. My heart froze, my stomach knotted. Tell me this before you go any further. If you were in my place, surrounded by terror and suffering, and you saw someone like this, would you have kept working, kept quiet, or run as fast as your legs could carry you? I didn't know his name then. I only heard the whisper's soft, trembling voices at the swamp's edge. They say he's not alive. He bleeds white. He is not human. Normally, I ignored ghost stories. I had enough fear with the overseers, the sun, the hunger, the whips. But the fear in the other men's eyes was different. It froze their blood before their words, twisted their faces into expressions I had never seen. That nothing could have prepared me for what I actually witnessed. I was 17, dark-skinned from years under the relentless sun, my hands cracked and blistered, my body weary from endless labor, my heart aching with longing for a freedom I could barely imagine. My master, Preston Harrow, was cruel in ways I couldn't fully describe, a man who delighted in breaking spirits, who used whips, hunger, and humiliation as tools to control us. Every day in the fields was a battle against exhaustion, pain, and hopelessness. Yet the sight of Caleb made everything I knew about fear seem small. I felt it first as a chill that cut through the relentless summer heat, then as a tightening in my chest so sharp I thought my ribs might break. And then I saw him fully, standing at the edge of the field, taller than any man I'd seen, impossibly pale, glowing faintly in the heat. His eyes were red but calm, like someone who had seen horrors no one else could comprehend, and yet the sorrow in them was almost unbearable to witness. The other workers reacted immediately. Some screamed, stumbling backwards, dropping cotton sacks. Some froze, rooted to the spot, unable to speak or move. Even the overseer, Slade, barked orders, but his voice faltered as if no human authority could pierce the silence Caleb brought. Caleb didn't run. He didn't fight. He stood there perfectly still, his hands stained with something I couldn't name. Not dirt, not blood, not cotton, and I felt drawn toward him. I didn't know why. It wasn't courage. It wasn't curiosity. It was something older, something primal, that demanded I move closer, even as terror held my legs rigid. "Who? What are you?" I whispered, trembling, each word catching like fire in my throat. "I am Caleb," he said softly. His voice was fragile yet carried with power, and it reverberated in my chest in a way I will never forget. "I am what they do not wish to remember." Slade shouted again, demanding we return to work, but even he paused as though some instinct warned him that order had no place here. Caleb didn't move. He simply watched, scanning each face, and in that moment I understood why the whispers called him a ghost. There was something not human in him, yet something heartbreakingly human too, a tragedy that radiated from every pore. That night I lay in my small, cramped cabin, but sleep would not come. The memory of his pale face and sorrowful eyes burned in my mind, and I kept hearing his words, "They do not wish to remember." I tried to focus on anything else. The hunger in my belly, the aches in my back, the voices of other workers, but my mind kept returning to him over and over. The next day, the fields felt heavier. The sun was brighter, harsher. The cotton seemed sharper, more aggressive, cutting my hands. The other workers moved sluggishly, eyes hollow, as if the air itself had turned to lead. And then it began. Dive seemed to hold. Small white stains appeared on clothing, on skin, on the cotton itself. Not dust, not dirt. Something alive, something unnatural. Some whispered it was a curse. Some claimed it was a ghostly warning. When Slade inspected the fields, his face went pale, almost matching Caleb's unnatural whiteness. That was when the legend truly began. Caleb the ghost, who bled the master's cotton white. I saw it first with Jeremiah, an old man who had worked the fields longer than anyone. One moment he was pulling cotton. The next he was screaming, clutching his chest, shaking violently. White fibers clung to him, seemingly growing from his skin. Some claimed Caleb's curse had touched him. Others whispered the devil had come himself. Jeremiah never spoke again. Weeks passed, and the phenomena spread. Workers became pale, weak, hands trembling. Each death was marked by the same ghostly whiteness creeping through the cotton. Caleb was always at the edge of the field, watching silently, reading our souls. I began to have visions of brutality, whippings, endless toil, suffering, despair. I would wake in the dark, chest tight, heart hammering, drenched in cold sweat. Drawn by curiosity and terror, I stepped outside and saw him, Caleb, crouched in the shadows, shaking, soaked in moonlight. There was vulnerability in him, a humanity that I couldn't reconcile with the terror I had seen. "Why are you here?" I whispered. He did not respond at first, then lifted his head, red eyes glimmering with sorrow. "They took everything from me," he said. "I was made to work these fields. Beaten, left for dead, and still they called me less than human." My heart twisted. I had never witnessed suffering so raw, so complete. Understanding did not erase fear. "Why haunt us?" I asked. "I didn't come here to haunt," he said softly. "I came to be seen." Shouts erupted from the field Slade and men with torches searching for Caleb. Panic surged through him, and he vanished into the swamp shadows, leaving me frozen with fear and confusion. The next days, the white stains spread. Workers grew weaker. Crops paled. Harrow himself came, furious and terrified, blaming us, demanding the ghost be caught. None of us could, and I realized I had to act. I could not stand by. I could not run. I went into the swamp alone, no torch, no weapon, only the memory of his sorrow-filled eyes guiding me. The swamp was thick, suffocating. Then I heard him. It's not too late. I saw him standing in the mud, glowing pale. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. "You think I chose this life," Caleb said. "I was forced, and when I died I couldn't rest. The pain of what was done to me bound my spirit here. I didn't come to harm you. I came to tell the world what was done to me." I felt a lump in my throat. I saw truth in him, yet I remembered the suffering, the deaths, the pale hands. I was torn. "So that's the situation I was in," I whispered, "and I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have believed him? Would you have helped or run?" I stepped forward, told him I believed him, that I saw the injustice, that I understood being less than human. The wind rose, carrying white fibers in a swirling mist. Caleb stepped forward, luminous in the darkness. "You have the choice," he said. Free me, or bind me here forever." I touched his hand and felt memories not my own, brutality, whippings, suffering, despair. I understood who Caleb was, a stolen, broken, forgotten soul. I whispered his name, calling to the lost spirits in the fields. Light blazed. Caleb's voice carried across the swamp. "I am finally remembered." The haze lifted. The swamp calmed. Fields returned to normal. Workers, once hollow-eyed, looked with hope. Harrow fled, muttering about ghosts. Caleb was gone, finally at peace. I will never forget him. Not the fear he inspired, but the sorrow in his eyes, the injustice he endured, and the peace he found. His story reminds us to remember those erased by history, to see the unseen, to honor the forgotten. If you were on my side, like this video, and subscribe to my channel, The Fear Ledger, for more stories like this. Share your thoughts about Caleb in the comments. Was he a ghost, a spirit of vengeance, or something more human than we could imagine? I'll see you all in the next story.